And a very warm welcome here to the Barony Hall at Strathclyde University. And it's wonderful to see our graduands here this afternoon, who will be magically turned into graduates over the next 30 to 40 minutes. Many congratulations on everything that you've achieved. And a very warm welcome to the families, friends and supporters for these wonderful people. It's getting a little bit dark and cold outside, but the warmth and enjoyment in the room will more than make up for that. Of course, we're now in the Winter 21 graduation season. The first time we've done in-person graduations for 2 years, and boy, we've missed them. We've graduated over 8,000 people in the intervening time who have not been able to enjoy the ceremony that you're enjoying this afternoon. We will make up for that in the new year, we hope, when we get these ceremonies, to have them enjoy the same experience that you're having. Because it's been a challenging time, and you've all done a fantastic job navigating the new ways of working, to use the cliche. But you've been successful, and you're here now in front of your family and friends, as we've said, to enjoy that. But we're doing it in a slightly different format, as you'll have been aware. We're wearing our masks appropriately, we're socially distanced, we're being careful about how we do things. And when you come up shortly to join us and to be formally awarded your degree, I will cap you, and I'll be capping you from a slightly further distance than normal. And to ensure that, I'm an engineer, by the way, so I'm out with my measuring stick, make sure everything's just so. But we have this piece of furniture in front of me, has some historical significance as well. This is a kneeler, and in the olden days when I was at your stage, when a graduand came onto the stage, she or he came along and knelt on this, whilst the Chancellor or the Vice-Chancellor capped them. It was a bit archaic, so we're a wee bit more egalitarian, so I'm going to be stood up so that I can look you in the eye when I cap you. But I knelt on this for the first time in 1978, as a very young graduate, I have to say, a BSc Electrical Engineering. Then I knelt on it again in 84 for a master's degree, and then I knelt on it again for my PhD in 1990, so I'm very fond of this bit of furniture, so we don't use it any longer, but we thought we'd use it as the distance point, because it's used to being on stage when we graduate all those students. So with that, colleagues, we'll give you an update report and some comments before we conclude, and I'm delighted to say we're going to have all of you presented today, and I will welcome you aboard, and we'll get started. So with that, I'll declare this congregation formally open, and we'll begin the process of graduation. Thank you very much.
Principal and Vice-Chancellor, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for research in the Department of Naval Architecture, Ocean and Marine Engineering, Ning Ju. For the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Mechanical Engineering, Noel Pen Jahau. Philip Obo Oloji. In Advanced Mechanical Engineering with Industrial Placement, Raghavendra Kulkarni. Pratesh Chund Prasad Chund. In Sustainable Engineering, Renewable Energy Systems and the Environment, Mark Bernal Martin. Katie Berry. Gurudat Bahardwaj. Jessica Megan Boyd. Jack Morris Corkery. Sonal de Souza. Susanna Graham. Ellie Grioriathi. Blair Innes. William Gabriel Monteith. William McIntyre Murray. Mojjan Sami'i. Wala Ghazi Slahim. Maggie Catherine Stewart. Manishankar Tirunau Caruso. Leslie Ann Thompson. Christos Paniotis Georginas. Georgias Yasumas. Karan Parap Zoop. In Advanced Naval Architecture, Krista Babu. Dahir Shabir Gadwala. Georgios Papadonio. Benjamin Harvey Scott. Nastia Vodopivets. In Marine Engineering, Andrew Hannigan. Adam Sidney Kelly. Benjamin Baker Parsons. Farid Rafi'i Rezvani. Ioannis Tanis. In Marine Engineering with specialisation in autonomous marine vehicles, Jaihan John. Athanasios Papakonstantinou. In offshore wind energy, Patrick Lonergan. In ship and offshore structures, Alfredo Barobia. Aidorenyan Nana Omofia. In subsea and pipeline engineering, Nadira Ifti Raisa. In sustainable engineering, offshore renewable energy, Noor Liana Binti Abdul Riyas. Jack Robert McClellan. In technical ship management, Ioannis Yorhios Halaris. Aspasia Basu. For the degree of Master of Engineering in Naval Architecture with Ocean Engineering, Maheswari Ponusami. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Aeromechanical Engineering, Abdor Desai. In Mechanical Engineering, Michael Alexander McDougall. Benjamin Rees-Smith. In Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering, Luke Andrew Smith.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give the class of 2021 a big collective rousing round of applause. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Strathclyde graduates, let me reiterate our sincere and warm welcome to this wonderful ceremony, a day that none of you will forget, and nor should you. It marks the successful conclusion of years of hard work, and now you've graduated in front of your proud families, your friends, your supporters and your classmates. And today we welcome visitors from all parts of Scotland and from across the UK, and of course from a wonderful international community. We're genuinely delighted to see you all here to join in our celebrations. And here at Strathclyde, we are an institution where we support and promote freedom of thought. We value that and we encourage that. We're a place that is both tolerant and inclusive, and where people of diverse national, cultural and social backgrounds can come together to enjoy excellent education and a shared student experience. And at Strathclyde, we all benefit from having students and staff from over 120 countries. Ours is a socially progressive community, one that seeks to be an exemplar for modern society. We are plural, multicultural, and we seek to be enlightened. I'll say more about that in a moment. It's our responsibility, it's your responsibility to continue to challenge unacceptable practices, including by those in power. And we don't have to look too far from the daily news messages that has to be done, and we need to use reason and exemplify the best features of modern society as we move forward. But of course, most importantly, we're here today to acknowledge your hard work, the learning that you've built up, and the successful completion of your coursework. That, of course, will be your passport now to making a full contribution in your careers and to society, in spite of the ongoing flux that we all face. As I mentioned earlier, these are the graduation ceremonies, the first in-person ceremonies since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, and that has had far-reaching impacts on all of us personally and on our professional lives, or indeed in our lives as students. It's challenged our health systems. It has impacted the economy of that, there's no doubt, and it's changed the way in which we work and study. And of course, whilst it's been challenging, we will have learned lessons over the past 18 months, and there'll be lasting positive impacts as to the best of what we've innovated and what we've delivered over the past year and a half or so. However, what we have done is we've developed through society that understanding that trust, confidence, collaboration makes all the difference. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had the vaccines so quickly. The excellent research in our universities, not least Oxford, working with AstraZeneca and many others, the regulatory alignment, government putting in the funding, industry coming together and then distributing that to all of us, that has been critical. So these focus points around shared vision, collaboration, and ultimately trying to make a difference has made a difference, and we will push on in that, and none more so in climate change. You're engineers, or you're graduating from an engineering faculty. COP26 has just concluded, as you well know. I had the privilege of spending most of the 2 weeks of COP26 in the Blue Zone, engaging with government leaders from around the world, innovators, academics, investors, very importantly. A few of my friends who are COP veterans were saying that the Glasgow meeting felt somewhat different. Now, there's always a mixed view of what the outcomes were, but the investment community and the financial industry was there in force, estimating we have to spend around about $3 trillion a year in investing in low-carbon economies, but also creating that $100 billion fund as a starter to support the developing nations to go on that journey with us. That notion of just transition is key, and it'll be engineers that will play a big part in that, taking that systems engineering approach that many of you know from your studies, that you do naturally as engineers, but breaking that down and then moving to delivery, because words can be cheap, but the political rhetoric has been important. But now what we need to do is move forward to action. And the Glasgow Climate Pact, as it's been called now, I think will be a reference point for the decades to come as we measure, monitor, and drive on in creating the systems that we need to deliver. Of course, we had the joy of meeting many important guests to the city, none more so than last Monday evening. We had ex-President Barack Obama on campus, an inspirational individual. Put politics to one side, as a leader, as a visionary, as someone that has a sense of society and place. He chose to come to Strathclyde after his address at COP26, where I'm sure you heard him, to use a euphemism, encouraging the world leaders to focus on getting it done. And he came here then for over 2 hours to talk to young people. I had the privilege of spending some time with him, telling him what we were doing in climate change, what we were doing in engineering technology and impacting policy. And then he spent an excellent hour and a half or so with young people around the table, because it's all of you, our dear Strathclyde graduates, who will make the difference. You're the leaders, not of tomorrow, you're the leaders now. So as you enter your next stage of your careers in companies or in third sector organisations, in government, your vision, your energy, your drive, your socially progressive attitude will overcome some of the legacy that my generation has left you as we decarbonise shipping, as we look at the design of new machines, propulsion systems, just what mechanical and aerospace engineers do, what naval architects and ocean and machine engineers do. Take that vision, take your skills and make a difference. And I was delighted to say we've got our student president with us today. President Obama accepted a life membership of the Students' Union. Ben said that means he can get a cheap pint any time when he comes off the streets next time he's coming to Glasgow. And we hope to announce soon a further strengthening of Mr. Obama's relationship with Strathclyde. So it's about application, it's about vision. And Thomas Edison, the famous American inventor, reminded us all that genius is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. think that's overplaying the perspiration bit a little bit. I think I hope you had more inspiration and all of that, but I'm sure your efforts demonstrated that. And I buy into that principle. I am a Glaswegian. I was brought up in a shipbuilding town, as it happens, the sunny hamlet of Govan, that some of you may know that come from the city. My father was a rope maker in the Gourock rope factory, working with the shipping industry. My two brothers worked in Fairfield shipyards, one a shipwright and the other one a welder, and I was the first one in my family to go to university on the basis of their and my mother's hard efforts to get me there. My town's motto, Govan's motto, is nihil sine labore. And I'm sure there are lots of Latin scholars in the room, but what that means is nothing without hard work. And bear that in mind. You're clever people, you're highly accomplished, you've got ambition, but apply yourself. Every time you get out of bed in the morning and think, what are we going to do today? How can I improve upon my efforts yesterday? What can I do to make a difference? And it's that approach that gets me out of my bed in the morning and take forward that same drive, that same approach, because that's what makes you Strathclyders. We make a difference. But today you've become Strathclyde alumni, and you are the latest of what we would like to think are our torchbearers, just like those in many generations that have gone before you. And with everything that you've successfully come through now, I'm sure you'll agree that you would not have done that without the backing and encouragement of the people and the community of supporters that are in the room today. It's fitting that we should acknowledge their part in the successful completion of your university studies. The graduates and the university at large owe you an enormous debt of gratitude. So, if I may invite the graduates of Strathclyde and my colleagues from the academic staff to say a big thank you to the staff and the families and supporters that are here today. Thank you very much. And for our academic staff that are here today too, your success is their reward. For all that you have now come through, I hope we've delivered to you a high-quality education and a first-class university experience for all of the students, regardless of background. So, new graduates, families and supporters, join with me now in saying thanks very much to our academic staff for all that they've done. And very briefly, a little bit of background of your university. Strathclyde this year is 225 years old. We were established in 1796, the only higher education institution to be established during a time of change, the Scottish Enlightenment, which drove forward a lot of progress throughout Europe and the rest of the world, as it happens. And whilst we're an august institution, we got our Royal Charter in 1964, by the way. Originally, we were Anderson's Institution, and we migrated ultimately to being the Royal College of Science and Technology, and then became the University of Strathclyde in 1964. So we drive this university still like a 200-year-old startup company, with that same sense of excitement and purpose that had us founded during the Enlightenment. And we remain faithful to our founding principles. And we were established, and I quote from the language then, for the benefit of all mankind. And our founder, John Anderson, who was a professor at the University of Glasgow, in his will sought to establish a place of useful learning, an approach that was inspired by the European philosophers of the Enlightenment at the time, like von Humboldt, but a particular influence on John Anderson was Benjamin Franklin, an academic and another technologist and engineer who was involved in establishing the University of Pennsylvania in 1751, and its motto is useful knowledge. And through that engagement, that inspiration, our motto became useful learning, something of which you have benefited from. And I want you to carry forward that motto, because that means we at Strathclyde are not only a leading international technological university, but we seek and we are committed to being a socially progressive institution. So, for example, as you came here to the Barony Hall this afternoon to celebrate the achievements of these wonderful people, you've passed buildings where our staff and students are developing drugs to diagnose and fight disease. For example, we have several drugs currently out on clinical trials in areas of cancer treatment, kidney disease, infection management, and inflammatory diseases. Strathclyders are working on the next range of energy technologies and policy solutions to tackle climate change and to achieve a low-carbon economy. We are revolutionising global manufacturing and helping to create the fourth industrial revolution, so-called Industry 4.0, that brings together and I'm sure you remember this from your classes, digital twin, modelling, AI, robotics, automation, which is transforming the way industry does its work. But our students continue to inspire us. They continue their work in Africa, establishing clean water and power supplies, deploying healthcare systems in remote communities, and introducing new telecommunications infrastructure. Our students are bringing prosthetic limb and bioengineering technologies to those in need in India. But we also seek to inform public policy and work with the UK and Scottish governments on national economic strategy, on education, health, energy and innovation. Down in George Street, we have our Technology and Innovation Centre, one of our flagship buildings in which we engage with industry. And our colleagues down there are working on energy technologies, photonics, bio-nanosystems and pharmaceuticals. I mentioned Thomas Edison. He called his teams in his laboratories his inventions factory. Well, TIC and what's happening around the Glasgow City Innovation District, we call our innovations factory. And we're about to go through the final approvals of another £150 million investment down in that platform between High Street, Ingram Street and George Street. New technology and innovation centres, what we do best, useful learning, useful research, and building out the Glasgow City Innovation District, Scotland's first, and concentrating now on medtech, fintech, quantum technology, industrial informatics, 5G and space technology. But working with business and industry, we give them the tools to drive their own strategies. We give them, most importantly, wonderful graduates that go in there and fuel their activities and ultimately to create economic value that produces jobs and provides us all with a quality of life that is both sustainable and healthy. But most importantly, and I mentioned the aspect of us still attracting many first-generation university students to Strathclyde, we provide people with the opportunity to transform their lives, the lives of their families and the communities that they belong to. And we're glad to say that our work is being recognised, not by us, but the people that we work with. And over the past few years, we've been recognised, particularly by the UK Times Higher Education Awards, a bit like the academic Oscars, if you like. We're the only university in the UK to have won the University of the Year award twice. We were named the UK Entrepreneurial University of the Year, Business School of the Year. The Herald named us as Higher Education Institution of the Year. Sunday Times, the Scottish University of the Year. And importantly for all of us, we were also named the Higher Education Workplace of the Year, which talks not just about what we're achieving, but how we collaborate and operate as an organisation deeply rooted in the values of the institution. So, your university, Strathclyde, continues to demonstrate disproportionate impact, principally through all of you. You are our most impactful production for society, our graduates, but also our research makes a major difference in the way that we effectively create value and impact by translating our knowledge to the benefit of society and for industry. We're a driver for sustainable economic growth, and we have a distinct role in all of that. That's recognised by the UK government and Scottish government. Universities have to be seen as an investment, not a cost. Strathclyde's budget is around about £400 million a year. About 100 million of that comes, and we're happy to receive it from our Scottish government agencies. And the rest is driven by research and by other activities. So, with a £1.2 billion investment from the Scottish Government in higher education in Scotland, we deliver over £10 billion worth of economic value back into the economy. That seems to me like a very good deal and a good argument for further investment. And the work of the Faculty of Engineering, not least Mechanical and Aerospace and Naomi, as it's called, Naval Architecture, Ocean and Marine Engineering, doing outstanding work, whether it's the manufacturing centre out at Glasgow Airport. Next time you're flying out of Glasgow, if you have a look at the side of the runway, you'll see two enormous buildings springing out to the ground. One's got a large serrated roof, purple coloured, and there's a more anonymous building behind it. That's the National Manufacturing Institute for Scotland that Strathclyde owns and runs on behalf of Scotland. And there's the Medicines Manufacturing Innovation Centre, taking what we do in engineering and pharmaceutical sciences and working with GSK and AstraZeneca to accelerate the production of medicines cheaply and using low-carbon technology. And that whole platform adjacent to the airport belongs to the Strathclyde community. About £200 million capital investment called the Advanced Manufacturing Institute for Innovative innovation district for Scotland. Engineering faculty at the heart of it, and as I said, the Glasgow City Innovation District too is driving the Scottish and local economy, all driven by excellent research, the production of great talent, and collaboration with industry and public sector. So, with all of that, that's the exciting context within which you are receiving your degrees today. You're graduates of a university that places our students at the heart of all that we do. And of course, we value excellence in education and research, and we do create strong connections with industry at large and with society. And we are an international institution. I've mentioned that earlier. The world's best universities collaborate. And the company that we keep these days, I think, speaks volumes. And the United States, our partners include Stanford and MIT, two of the world's top 10 universities working with us in photonics, energy, biophotonics, materials, and also New York University, and in Canada. And we have a sister university called Waterloo University near Toronto, like ourselves, socially progressive, internationally connected, and that's great for students in China, the other side of the world. We work with number 1 and number 2 in China, Peking University and Tsinghua, two excellent universities, as well as Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and all points between. And it's that collaboration that makes a difference. That's how the vaccines came about. That's how we'll tackle global warming. That's how you'll green the marine industry. That's how you'll design the next aero propulsion systems, through collaboration and through innovation. And of course, with that connectivity, our students have benefited greatly from being part of an international university. It's helped you emerge now with the skills necessary, not only for yourselves, but for Scotland and the countries that you may work in, to play a full part in the world. And you've also been exposed to the richness and value of different cultures and traditions. And most importantly, graduates, you leave here understanding your obligations as global citizens. And we take our connection to our own city very seriously. We remain the leading Scottish research-intensive university for widening participation in our programmes. This year alone, we've admitted just under 1,300 young people from some of the most challenged communities in Glasgow. The communities where I was brought up, and we should be proud of that. They come here because they have the wherewithal, and their families and themselves have the ambition to go on and move on. So we work hard to get them in, we work hard to keep them in here, educate them, and launch them into their career. And yet, with all of that, we've retained our position as having the 4th highest entrance standards in the UK, which somewhat challenges and dismisses the notion that standards are adversely affected through a strategic commitment to widening access. So, if I conclude by saying your university, Strathclyde, if I describe us now in 2021, I would say we were ambitious, focused, and that we have momentum. And we retain the agility and commitment to the delivery of our strategy. So focus is necessary to allow us to navigate the continuing challenges in our sector and the political uncertainties that continue to face us. But Strathclyde's been around for over 200 years. I expect us to be around for a few more 100 years, and we will navigate through all of these challenges. But this is a great privilege for me to lead Strathclyde. I have superb support from my executive team, an outstanding academic community, the support staff, professional services, and I believe strongly that our founder, whom I mentioned, John Anderson, would recognise what we are doing today as the realisation of what he sought to establish during the Scottish Enlightenment. And now we, in this modern society, are being an agent for positive change in Glasgow, in Scotland, across the UK and on the world stage. And to all of you in the hall today, I am certain that today's graduates will have an enormous impact on society, and that 2021 can truly become a vintage year. You've shown resilience, you've shown maturity, and you've shown that you can achieve success. We're very proud of you for all of that. And with that in mind, as you leave the hall today, it's not just an award that you leave with, but please take that useful learning mission as a responsibility, and that socially progressive commitment. And you're joining a global community of almost 200,000 Strathclyders out there. So I have no doubt in your journeys and your careers and beyond, you'll meet plenty of Strathclyde people. And remember, finally, whatever you do with your degree and whatever you pursue your career, useful learning means that you apply your knowledge for the benefit of others, make a positive impact for yourselves, your families, and the communities that you belong to. Please respect diversity, value freedom of expression and thought, and reach conclusions and resolve disputes through reason and tolerance. These characterise the core values of your university. And with regard to today's celebration, we're all here to mark the terrific achievement of those who have been awarded their degrees. On behalf of Strathclyde, let me extend my sincere congratulations to each and every one of you and wish you every success in your future careers. Please stay in touch with us and let us know about your progress. Well done again, and please enjoy the rest of this very special day. Thank you very much. I think I've just had a digital signal of the thumbs up at the back of the hall, which means that the weather's not too bad outside, which means as we conclude, the stage party will leave the stage, process down the hall. We'll be joined by our piper, so you'll not miss us. We're going to process to the Learning and Teaching building, which is a few hundred yards away, where we've got a reception set up for you. So you're all very warmly welcome to join us for some refreshments, some nibbles, to maybe set you on your way for an evening of enjoyment with your families and friends. So thanks for being here, ladies and gentlemen. Well done again to the Strathclyde graduates. And with that, I will declare this congregation closed. Well done again.